The screen is down. That means the rest of the evening is pre-recorded. But it's a real pleasure and joy, our favorite thing to do, to come here to Whidbey Island Center for the Arts and the Michael Nutt Mainstage.
Yay. We've been talking about writing a song for Michael, and just kind of waiting for the inspiration, and that came around last year when Paul Matthews, who's here this evening, sent me an email about a group. But Paul's here, and I think his son Eric is here too, and I want to acknowledge Eric and the jazz band, the high school jazz band, and in fact I'd like to acknowledge the whole music programs in the school districts here. So that about a big hand for that. Said that we should check out a group from the 30s and 40s called the Hoosier Hot Shots. They are, I checked them out, fell in love with them right away. They're sort of like us. They're wacky. They do kind of silly songs, and they have excellent musicianship. And I thought 2 out of 3 wasn't bad. And they're famous for their most famous song is a song called "From the Indies to the Andes in His Undies." That's what I consider a couple of the greatest lines ever written. It says, "For a spare, he brought an extra pair of panties. They didn't fit him well, they were his aunties." And then the kicker, of course, is the song is about a hero named Otto Zilch, and I heard Otto Zilch, and I heard Michael Nutt. So that was the inspiration for this song. So to get started, I thought we have this picture of Michael as we all knew him and loved him, and I brought a few more slides. I talked with Diane a few times and got some pictures from her I'd like to share with you. Here is, believe it or not, Michael as about 19 years old. When he was winning contests and going around competitions and starting to win contests in England there. And the next shot, I believe, that's just a scene. Michael was in the group playing music down there. He's the second from the left. And those are Morris dancers, and you can kind of tell from the cars, the vintage here. And that I'm told that inn up there still exists. It was hundreds of years old then, and it's still hundreds of years old. And then another shot. What do we have next here? Oh, this is when Michael came to the U.S. He did session music, in the studios for people, and he got invited along when they needed someone to fill in the LA Philharmonic, and toured around. And this is, and he ended up staying with them for 30 years. He was with them, and through that time, he of course had a lot of notable things. Here, this is signed to the best country fiddler in the LA Phil from Hank Mancini, good friend. The story is that they did in the Hollywood Bowl in front of 18,000 people. They did a concert, and Mancini it was Mancini's music they were playing. They had Michael come out and do a fiddle tune as one of the tunes that happened. And the first night out, it apparently brought the house down, and everyone screamed. And Michael was a little bit taken aback and went back to his seat, and Mancini had him do another bow for everybody. But Dan said the next night, at the end of it, Michael was waving his bow around. And sold it up a bit. And the next shot, I found it. That's Michael auditioning to become one of the third of the 3 tenors. There's 2 of them there. And they apparently backed them up. His skills as fundraising. He went out to ladies' auxiliaries and charmed the ladies, and apparently charmed the younger ladies here as well. And the next one is, I'm sure Michael would tell you this is a picture of 2 old buzzards. But actually it's 1 old buzzard and a young eagle. And, Michael had an affinity for animals, and this is one of 2 eagles that he actually helped rehabilitate. This eagle fell out of the Jim and Paula Pugh's tree. They ended up saving this eagle's life, I believe. And the next shot that's just a handsome shot. Kind of shows a lighter side. I'm not sure when that was, but he went through that period too. and so the last shot here, I'll leave you as we play the song. This is Michael right in the middle, believe it or not. That's Slim Weston, I believe, was what the name he went by, and that is the Smoky Mountain Boys. It was on the BBC Review Weekly, and he wrote a song for every show, I'm told, once a week. So we'll leave that up as you can think about Mike. From England to the LA Philharmonic, where orchestral parts are often polyphonic. There was a musical immigration. How ironic. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. He was born December 5th, so not a Libra. His entire life he never rode a zebra, but he always had that certain joie de vivre. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. Michael Nutt, he's a hero for the ages. Michael Nutt, his enthusiasm was contagious. Well, he wore on stage a very fine tuxedo, kept his body fit and his libido. For charity, he stripped down to his Speedo. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. Mostly Michael played the violin, though he bought a country fiddle now and then. In fact, the line between the two was often thin. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. Michael Nutt, though he came from jolly England, we're so glad that he ended up on Whidbey Island. Formed the Saratoga Chamber Players. Sophisticated music, many layers. With Diane, they saved the woods from the surveyors. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. He built an English pub out in the lobby. Poured the pints himself, it was a hobby. When he left at night, he walked a little wobbly. That's a very, very Michael thing to do. Michael Nutt, he got fresh but never rotten on this stage. He will never be forgotten. Backstage, he always acted rather chummy. He liked us because he thought that we were funny, but mostly because we raised a lot of money. And that's a very, very Michael thing to do. That's a very, very Michael thing to do.